Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Leading from Alignment with our good friend and the guru of compassion, but not so soft you get away with anything, John Opalewski. How are you today, John?
Oh, I always kind of need to bring out another descriptive phrase of me that I've never heard before.
Yeah. Well, you're a
Um,
loving, kind man, and you're so loving and kind that you won't let us hurt ourselves, which is much of what this podcast is about. So thanks for being
yeah,
you.
well, it's good to be here. The subject today is it's titled Short-Term or Long-Term
Yeah.
Pain.
Yeah.
I was reminded of this just by again observationally, Jim. We see pastors, leaders who either put up with something so long for so long because they're
Yeah.
afraid of the cuteness that sometimes short-term pain brings. Um,
Yeah.
and they have a hard time with this idea of like if I can handle pain in these little small pieces for a long period of time. And I tell them, well, look, you're already in, and so let's do something about it. And
Yeah.
I was at the oral surgeon uh, a while back, and
Yeah.
we got a procedure we're going to have to do here shortly, and
Mm, mm,
it reminded me that visit reminded me of a visit to him 5 years ago,
yeah.
and it was at the beginning of 2020, and
Yeah.
a little over 5 years ago now, actually. Yeah, I think it was January 2nd, and I'm sitting with a bowl of popcorn on my lap, watching a football game and enjoying life. And it was a pretty
Yes.
uneventful night. I woke up the next morning with tooth pain. And I thought, just tooth sensitivity, no big deal. And day 4 of January rolls around and that year, and the pain was intensifying.
Yeah.
And I started gulping down ibuprofen to help take the edge off.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to leave for a work trip to Montana
Oh boy.
the next morning. And I needed that pain to get under control. So I fly out to Montana. I'm there for a weekend and a couple of days with another church, and more pain. Every day that went by, there was more pain. And now the left
Yeah.
side of my face was starting to swell.
Oh. Oh.
And so as the day wore on, I'm in Kalispell. I think I was in Kalispell. I can't remember now. Uh, the pain uh, grew. My face started to get bigger, and the pain now was really severe. Our
Yeah.
host pastor carted me off to the ER, where they affirmed that something definitely was wrong. But
Yeah.
since they were not dentists, they were doctors,
Right.
medical
Yeah.
professionals. The best that they could do is prescribe some antibiotic
Good. Yeah.
and some pain meds just to help take the edge off. So I make it through the rest of this trip, and my face is getting more swollen by the hour. And I was fearing that some alien form of life was about to pop out of my neck. It
Yes.
was not
Yeah. I
good.
know that feeling. Yeah.
And so I get home late. I think I'm home at 1 o'clock in the morning, and the very next morning I call my dentist and they say I got a problem. I got to come
Yeah.
see you. And he takes a 30-second look at it and he says, "Oh man, this is bad. I got to send you to the endodontist." So the endodontist drills this hole in the tooth,
Yeah.
and he looks around and he says, "Oh, you've got a fractured tooth that's allowed bacteria to invade, and it's
Yes. Yeah.
created a
Same thing happened to me.
serious infection."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember thinking in the moment, I hate all of this painful mining of my teeth and jaw right now. But if I don't get through this, the problem's just going to get worse. So the endodontist sends me immediately to the oral surgeon, who,
Yeah.
after saying, "John, 2 more days and you would have been in ICU," removes the fractured tooth. Now, it was that was a painful
Yes.
whirlwind of events.
Yes.
And it made me think, that in life and leadership, you can choose short-term pain or long-term pain.
That's a good way to put it.
And in over 20 years of coming alongside pastors, I see this, Jim, as one of the common crucibles where leaders and leadership is forged.
Yes.
And I want to stop there and just get some of your initial thoughts.
I'm just cringing. I had the same thing. I was in Haiti and took an
Mm,
emergency flight to Fort Lauderdale because I've never felt pain like that. It was
yeah.
an infection in the jawbone that hit a nerve, and I was brought to tears. I was in so much pain. Um, and yeah, if you haven't had it, good.
Yes.
But imagine your appendix bursting on your face. Imagine stubbing your toe 18 times. Yeah, imagine that's what it feels like. So I'm relating to the pain story for sure. Yeah,
Yes. And would you say that this tension of short-term, long-term
yeah,
pain is kind of like a furnace in sense
yes,
that
yeah.
God uses these types of scenarios to forge something in us that can't be
Yeah.
forged any other way?
Yeah, I do. And I think it comes back to weakness actually being strength, dependence actually
Mm,
being the best thing for liberty. It's an upside down kingdom. But what I'm really relating to is the thought that if I don't, I'm not going to deal with it, and that's going to be okay. And the pain gets worse and worse and worse. So there's a pain of having your tooth extracted. There's a pain of not dealing with the problem. The only thing worse than dealing with the problem is not dealing with the problem. The only thing worse
that's
than
right.
not getting that tooth pulled is or getting that tooth pulled is not getting it pulled because things don't heal on their own in human relationships or in dental hygiene. You know,
Yes.
once that's in there, you're you're rotting from the inside out as an organization or as a piece of anatomy, and you
Right.
got to deal with it. It's merciful. You know, if it's gangrene, the best thing you can do is cut it off. You say, oh, but can't we save the arm? Well, you can save the life or you can save the arm. As
Right.
painful as that is, the only way to save your life is to, as quickly as possible, remove it. And boy,
Yeah.
that's terrifying. The only thing more terrifying is not removing it as it spreads to kill you.
Yeah, and you said something that really caught me. You didn't say it this way, but here's what I think I heard you say, that it affects not just you, it affects the organization.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And so, that pain, that thing that you don't want to deal with because you know for a short while there's
Yeah.
going to be intensity
Yes. Yeah.
around it.
Yeah.
And you want to avoid it because most of us are pain avoidant.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, it, and and I don't think that's bad
No, I don't
inherently.
either. Yeah, I
That's
was
a
gonna say,
bad
and
thing.
that's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but our family suffers. Our
Yes.
the church that God has called us to lead and serve suffers when we refuse to deal with scenarios that are obviously painful. And I think that I'm thinking about pain today in two silos. I'm thinking about not that they don't ever they always intersect, but two different arenas. One is pain in personal relationships.
Yeah. Yeah.
When relational fractures happen, we can find ourselves refusing to deal with them because sometimes we hope magically they'll go away on their own.
Yeah.
And when that strategy fails, and it usually does fail, we scan we can find ourselves paralyzed, right? Because we're afraid if I address this relational fracture, it's going to be more painful than not addressing it.
Yeah.
So we choose this long-term pain because we fear the intensity
Yeah.
of the short-term pain.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. If we wait too long to deal with relational pain, if we allow fear to prevent us from speaking the truth in love,
Yeah.
from prevent us from dealing with the problem, the root, the infection spreads and it
Yeah.
contorts, like my face was contorted,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
contorts your situation into even more painful territory
Yeah.
to the point where the life of the relationship is at risk.
Yeah.
And we can find ourselves in relational ICU.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fractured relationships may get healed up. Not, they don't always get healed up when we deal with them, but most of the time they do.
Yeah.
Um, but even if my attempt to deal with it isn't successful, its hold on my well-being and health is loosened
Yes. Yeah.
because I refuse to kick the can down the road.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
what do you think about this first?
Yeah. I was shocked. I was 29 years old, like you were when I became a senior pastor.
Yeah.
And I was a youth pastor before that for a decade or so. And that, kids fell in love at camp and they fell out of love when they got out of camp and they went to the prom and they broke up together. But I was surprised as like a pastor of adults, the adult relationships were falling apart in
Mm,
the case of divorce. And you'd think after 20 or 30 years, you should know by now whether the toilet seat should be up or down or where you squeeze the toothpaste from. I was shocked that a successful marriage, with 3 kids was ending and you look for
yeah.
why was it? We did an autopsy on it and realized that as they had kids, they got really busy. And when the kids moved out, they realized they hadn't dealt with a problem in 20 or 30 years
Right.
because they just pushed it aside. They just, so I think probably the most vulnerable time in a marriage is probably the first 5 years or the first 5 years after you're an empty nester, which seems the first one makes sense to me. You didn't know how
Yeah.
hard it was going to be, and everybody's on their best behavior until you get married. But I think that there's no better place to display what you're talking about than in our marriages, because if we don't
Yeah.
deal with things throughout, suddenly there's no kids' soccer game to go to, and you
Right.
realize there are long-standing problems. And so we realize that people are not divorced by what happened in the last 5 years. They were divorced by what never got resolved over the last 25 years.
There you go. Boy,
And
that's
it was
so
just kicked
true.
down the road. And yeah,
It's so
that's
true.
the pain, if it's a pain in my hand, then my hand will produce a callus. My tooth won't do that. But that's what happened. They just kind of got used to the dysfunction until there was no reason to stay together anymore because the kids were grown and gone.
Yeah.
And they'd never dealt with the problem. So if you're married in the first 5 years, you're in that 25, 30 year mark. Remember, this isn't like I've been married successfully, everything's going to work. Like, don't settle for calluses. Deal with it. Figure it out.
Right.
Have these conversations.
Yeah. I used to I remember in college before finals week, I always would pray for Jesus to come back before
Yeah.
finals week
Yeah.
because I did not want to go through the pain
Yeah.
that week inflicted on not just me, but every student in
Yeah.
college. Um, and I think sometimes that approach we take to relationships,
Yeah.
that if I just ignore it, it'll go away.
Yeah.
I know we're angry now, but if I just forget about it, the anger will go away. The anger will subside. Well, the anger will drop out of your line of sight,
Yeah.
but anger does not go away on its own.
Yeah.
It just goes to the background,
Yeah.
and it's unless we deal with it properly, and it's percolating, just waiting
Yeah.
for the
The opportunity.
right time and
Yeah.
place to
Yeah.
emerge again.
Yeah.
And so, pastor, leader, if you're in pain, don't do what I did. Don't pray that Jesus would come back. I mean, we want him to come back,
Yeah.
but
But that's not why. Yeah.
that's not a good strategy.
Yeah.
Um, don't assume that because you haven't, it's not front and center that it's gone, that it's healed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take action, please. Get help. In most cases, I've had to have somebody in my ear, Jim,
Yeah.
helping me with this.
Yeah.
Because left to myself, I can be pain avoidant
Yeah.
and not deal with the personal stuff in my world. Listen,
Right.
your personal life bleeds into your ministry life.
That's exactly
Your
right.
ministry life bleeds
Yeah.
into your personal life.
Yeah.
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
You can have a church of 1,000 people, but if things aren't good in the most important relationships in your life, it doesn't matter. There
Right.
will be no joy in that
Yeah.
um, at all.
Yeah.
So that's the personal side of
Okay.
this
Yeah.
thought today. Let's go to the professional side, Jim,
Yeah.
the organizational side. Talking about fractures maybe in your organization. Some fractures are apparent, some you might not see yet.
Yeah.
It could be an attitudinal fracture.
Yeah.
It could be a values fracture, a core values fracture. fracture. It could be a competency fracture. Sometimes, well, I just want to say this. I can't manage attitude. You are responsible. Now, if you work for a toxic boss, I understand it's harder to bring a good attitude
Yeah.
to the table. But by and large, you're responsible for the attitude you bring. I can't manage that. I
Nope.
can I can influence it, but I can't. If you've got a bad, you come to me with a bad attitude. You come
Yeah.
to work for our organization and you have a bad attitude, and we haven't figured that out, and we somehow you got onto our team
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
without us knowing that. I want you to know that working for us isn't going to fix your bad attitude.
No.
You have ownership over that. Values. Uh, Jim, we make a big deal about our core values. You and
Yeah.
you've been with me now for, I don't know, 7 years or so.
Yeah.
We've had conversations around some of our
That's right.
values, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
And
Yeah.
and and it's been so amazing to watch you grow in
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of our value win-win partnerships.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
and that was one that
Yeah.
God has given you a great life message. And
Yeah.
when we first got started with it, you're such a generous person. You want to give it away for free. And I'm saying, Jim, look, buddy,
Yeah.
if you want to go do that, go ahead. You can't do that here
Yeah.
because we are of the mind that for us to have sustainability, our clients absolutely have to win,
Yeah.
but we have to win too.
Right. Right. Yeah.
You
And
know,
as it
if we're
turns out,
not
it wasn't a generous heart, it was a frightened one. I was
okay,
afraid that a relationship would be cut off if I asked for that win-win relationship. So
yeah,
yeah, as it turns out, the noble mask that I wore was I'm a generous person. The reality is I was afraid of rejection. So that was, I don't know if you remember
oh
that, but
boy,
that was when we realized like, oh, we gotta fix that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've come so far
Yeah.
in that. I think from what I can see, I mean, you've really bought into that
Yeah.
value. Listen, if you have somebody on your team that isn't bought into your values, that's a fracture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has to be addressed.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've jammed square pegs into round holes, right, Jim? We've
Yeah.
done that.
That's right.
And consequently, the person who's serving is suffering.
Yeah.
The people they're serving are suffering
Yeah.
because we've jammed a good person
Yeah.
into the wrong role. And
Yeah.
we got to do something about that.
Yeah.
You're
He
laughing. Go
volunteered to work
ahead.
in security and we put him in the nursery because we needed a mammal, in there. Yeah, and the guy never wants to help again. Uh,
Right.
yeah.
And we've had to have conversations like that.
Yeah.
Jim, you do such a beautiful job in this area. Pastor, if you need help building teams, helping people
Yeah.
find the right slot,
Yeah.
uh, Jim's your man. He can help you with that. He's the best in the world that I know of in that
Well,
particular arena. But see, when we address these things, when we address attitudinal issues, when we address values
yeah.
mismatch issues, when we uh, address this miscasting of people into the wrong roles,
Mm,
addressing those things almost always brings progress
yes. Yeah.
to a church, to a business, and it lessens the organizational pain.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
But if you wait,
Yeah.
it it contorts like our
Yes.
faces do.
Yeah. Was it the second law of thermodynamics that most things over time will denigrate? They don't get more
Hmm.
complex, they get more simple. They don't, rust doesn't turn into iron, iron turns into rust,
Yeah,
over time. And without leadership, keeping those oxidizing forces out of the metal, if you will, of your organization, of course it'll disappear. Of course
yeah,
it'll fall apart. I was in Jamaica not long ago and the Moravians had a large influence there, that there were abolitionists and ministered to the slaves, and a lot of like leading freedom. So churches are all over Jamaica and they're all in ruins. And I asked why, why is that? Why is this a ruined, it's stones, but the roof isn't there anymore and things. And they said, well, because they failed to do what we're talking about now. And once the slave trade ended, they didn't really know what to do next. They had to get
Mhm.
angry about something. They needed a cause to fight for, and slavery was over with. So, yeah, that they somebody failed to say what's next, and then challenge the status quo, and it
Yes.
rusted and decayed, and now those beautiful, huge buildings that were instrumental in generations of people's lives are now, you know, they're now monuments to somebody that didn't do what you're talking about today.
Yeah. So, Pastor, you know, we realize that this is hard. This is one of the hard parts of what you do for a living.
Yeah,
Um, I've lost count, and this is true. I have actually lost count of a number of pastors who have told me, John, I had waited for a year,
yeah,
2 years to deal with this problem, and I
yeah.
finally summoned the courage to do it. And I'm so proud of them.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's huge. Yeah,
And just and they said the whole atmosphere has changed
yeah.
because we dealt with this problem.
Yep. Yeah.
Why did and then what
Yeah,
comes
why
out of
did
their
we?
mouth next? Why did I wait so long
Yeah.
to do this? And I said, well, I don't know. Maybe we should explore that together
Yeah. Yeah.
in our next session or something to that
Yeah.
degree. But I think it's this idea of short-term or long-term pain.
Yeah.
There is this belief that the short-term pain is more acute, and I think that's actually true.
Yeah.
And I don't like acute.
No.
So I'm going to deal with low-level pain,
Yeah.
but at some point it will blow up and it will be acute
Yes.
again. So,
Yeah.
um, there's fear, like there's fear of collateral damage. Like if I have to actually do an extraction, like I
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
it's never fun, man.
Yeah.
I've got one of those coming up here in a few weeks. I'm not looking forward to
Yeah.
that at all, but I know that in the long run, it's better for me to lose my number two molar
Yeah.
than for it to create more problems with the
Yeah.
surrounding teeth.
Yeah.
Is it possible there could be some collateral damage when I deal with it? Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
Um, but over time, even the collateral damage tends to fade into the
Yeah.
background.
Yeah. Right.
I've had pastors tell me, Jim, the build up to making this decision, the build up to having this conversation was worse
It's harder. Yeah.
than the actual conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
And I would say to them, "Oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I'm always a bundle of nerves before I
Yeah.
go in and
Yeah.
have
Well, you
this kind
imagine
of
what can go
conversation."
wrong, and
That's right.
it's really as bad as our worst experiences can imagine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, Pastor, there's no pastor that we know who is healthy who relishes dealing with these types of pain, the personal
Yeah.
side, the professional side. But the choice to me, it's very clear, and just because it's clear doesn't mean it's simple.
Yeah.
Um, we either ignore it and hope that Jesus comes back or the
Yeah.
pain goes away. And this approach almost always ends up in longer term pain.
Yeah.
Or we take our medicine and we deal with the source
Yes.
of the pain. So
Yes.
I would just want to challenge pastors and leaders. I want to ask you this question. What are you facing in your personal or organizational relationships right now
Hmm.
that is causing you pain?
Yeah.
We're convinced that ignoring it isn't a good solution. Hoping it will go away spontaneously isn't a good
Never gonna happen.
solution. We
Yeah.
want to encourage you, and we know it's hard. And like I said, you're probably going to need somebody in your ear walking with you through these types of
Yeah.
things. Can I encourage you to deal with the fracture?
Yeah.
Because your unwillingness or willingness to choose short-term pain over long-term pain is an accurate predictor of your leadership trajectory.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, Jim, some final thoughts?
Yeah. I heard it said once that the number one cause of suicide in the Old West was tooth pain. And what happened
Mm,
was they couldn't sleep and they couldn't eat because that thing was there. And eventually, when they couldn't imagine a tomorrow that was less painful than today, they ended it at their own hand. And I would say the number one cause of ministerial suicide, in other words,
mm.
ending something prematurely, is the same thing. It's
Yeah.
that I can't imagine a tomorrow with less pain in it than today because my church is, the phrase deacon possessed. I've got a leader
Mm,
that's really I got it's underperforming. I got ungrateful. I've got demands. And when we can't imagine a tomorrow that's less stressful or painful than today, we say maybe I'm just not good at this. Or people
mm.
tell us you're not good at this, and we believe them. When I'm in pain, lies are a lot more believable than when I'm not in pain.
That's right.
Looking for a way out becomes natural, a self mercy, if you
Mm.
will, whether it's suicide or whatever. If you're in enough pain, you look for a way out of that pain. So I would say, please listen to what John's saying because I think a lot of churches go through leadership transitions that are unnecessary because a leader lacked the courage to confront, to
There you
to
go.
deal with, to set right, to take that short term pain, to extract what's infected, bring healing to it, and then get back to eating pizza and popcorn watching the ball game. So
Watch
there,
the seeds in the popcorn.
watch the
Just
seeds,
a little
man.
bit of warning.
Dangerous seeds. So yeah, I the message is just simply this. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. If you're looking
Yeah,
for a time when it doesn't hurt anybody and it's easy, that never happens. It will hurt
that's right.
and it's not easy, but that's why you get paid the big bucks as a senior pastor.
Tongue
Because
in cheek
somebody's got
there,
to
folks.
lead, man. Somebody's got to
Yeah,
lead. And if you don't, then the loudest voice in the room is.
that's right.
And that person's not appointed by God, you are. So
Mm.
they don't really know. They just have a strong opinion or a loud voice or a lot of influence. Don't let those things
Yeah.
intimidate you. So God bless you. John, again, I would say this. I think a lot of times people, what they're lacking is just somebody to tell them your plan is sound. You're doing the
Yes.
right thing. And I think coaching is ideal for that. So if somebody wanted to
Hmm.
just kind of take some time and walk through this as a process, or maybe just a free half-hour conversation, how would they go about doing that?
Yes. Convergecoach.com.
Yeah.
There is a start a conversation link. And we're at episode 323, so we've said this at least 323 times to our audience. If
Yeah.
if you're in pain, don't don't take the bait of the devil to say that nobody will understand,
No, right. Right, right, right. Yeah.
that people will think poorly of me if I reach out for help. God
Mm.
is not telling you that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you the devil is telling you that.
Yeah.
Reach out for help. You go right to our website, click start a
Yeah.
conversation, and we'll reach out to you. One of our team will spend 30 minutes with you for free.
Yeah.
And we might be able to just nudge you along enough in that 30
Yeah.
minutes. Or you might decide, hey, I want to extend the engagement to
Right.
a longer time period. But
Yeah.
please hear us. Please hear my heart, hear Jim's heart. We don't want you to go through these things. We're first of all, we're s- we're not happy that you're going through what you're going through.
Right. And we've been there. Yeah. We know
We
how bad it
feel
hurt.
for you,
Yeah.
but we want to help,
Yeah.
and so let us help you.
Yeah.
Uh, and maybe on the 323rd time,
Yeah.
they'll say, maybe I should do that.
Yeah. I love that, John. So he's talking to somebody. Is it you? If it is, come on. Let's have this conversation. So God bless you guys. We know leadership is hard. And we've been there, maybe even are there right now, depending on the day that this launches. It is part of leadership. You
That's
never
right.
outgrow this. Your organization, it is part of being human in the body of Christ and dealing with that. So we know what it feels like, and I know from personal experience. Sometimes I just need to talk to somebody that's not my wife, that's not a staff member,
Yeah.
that's not a deacon, just somebody outside that I can just vent it, get it out, maybe some ideas of what I'm going to do, and then hear back, that's a terrible idea. That's a great idea. You're onto something. So it helps. It helps to have a spotter that says to the shooter, send it. You're
Yeah.
on target. Send it. Downrange, do it. So if you're not a sniper, that didn't make sense. If you are, then you're tracking with me. So God bless you, our watchers and listeners. Man, we are praying for those of you that are downrange today, and put yourself in harm's way as a leader. God bless you. We're on your team, and we'd love to help any way we can as you continue to lead from alignment.